Okay, let's continue with our study of pivot tables. So let's set the stage with the data that's in the file pt customers temp. So what we have is customer data, which I'm sure you work with a lot at Microsoft. So every row is a customer number, 1 through 100, the amount of money the customer paid us in the quarter of the year, 1 through 4, that they paid us. So we'd like to summarize what we earned in revenue from each customer, 1 through 100, during each of the 4 quarters. And the pivot table does this really nicely. In other words, for customer 10, add up in each quarter the total amount paid. And then we'd like to sort of find out our top 10 customers, who are our 10 best customers. And if you're familiar with, and you should be, the 80-20 rule, what that means is 20% of your customers usually generate around 80% of your revenue. 20% of your products will generate 80% of your revenue. And most importantly, 20% of the people have 80% of the money. Often known as the Pareto rule or Pareto principle. We can easily find the customers who generate 80% of our revenue. And we'll see in this example, it happens to be around 20% of the 100 customers. And then we would like to show how you handle the possibility of new data being added to a pivot table. So in other words, we've got around 1,400 rows of data here. And we want to do the pivot table on this data, but we would like the pivot table to update when we add new data. And you probably know, if you right-click on a pivot table and select refresh, if you change the data, the pivot table will update. The problem is, if you add new data, it won't automatically pick that up. Okay. But if you make the original data, make the source data what's called a table, and you do this with Control plus T or Insert Table, and we'll have more on this, much more on the great table feature in later videos. If you make the source data table, then when you refresh, the new data will be automatically included, and we'll show you this. So we're going to make this a table. Okay, so we're going to select our data. I do Control Shift right arrow, Control Shift down arrow, and then I do Control T, and now it's a table. I don't want to get into too much detail on tables at this point because that's not our sequence of topics. But this is a table, and you'll see when we add new data later, the pivot table will update. So let's create the pivot table. Insert Pivot Table, or familiar field. See, it says Table 1. That means new data entered below the old data will be included. We will click OK. Okay, we'll put the quarter number 1 through 4. And then we'll pick the customer number 1 through 100. And then the amount paid is right here. So now we know the total amount each customer paid us. Like customer 2 in quarter number 3 paid us a total of $59,889, and over the 4 quarters we're paid this much. Now let's use the value filters to find the 10 best customers. So I go right here, and there's value filters, you'll see. Okay, label filters we'll learn about in the next video. That's filtering on text. But value filters, most of these are self-explanatory, like anybody who made more than $100,000 in revenue for us, we could do. But let's do just top 10. So value filters, top 10. I now have my 10 best customers, top 10 items. So I've got the 10 best customers listed in descending order of sales. Now I could change that by the 80-20 rule, value filters, top 10, but make this 80 and make it percent. So that'll now show us the customers generating 80% of our revenue, and there are, what, 23 of those guys. Okay, now let's show, since we made the original data table, let's add somebody to the bottom of this table, some data. So the top customer now was who? It was customer 2. But on the bottom here, let's say customer 1 suppose they sold $10 million, which just a huge number, and that was in the 2nd quarter. Okay, so now if I refresh the pivot table, who should be my best customer? Well, customer 1, because that new data makes him my best customer. Boy, I wish I could find him. But I would do right-click now, refresh, see customer 1 is now the top guy, and quarter 2 is the top sales because of that new data point. Now, when I refreshed, if I had not made the original data table, that would not have happened. Okay, now let's go back and remove the filter. Just click on there. Oops. Clear filter from customer. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so the filters are gone. Okay, now Bill Gates, I believe, coined this term, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Let's drill down to the data in a pivot table. If you double click on any cell in a pivot table, you will find the source data that generated that in a separate worksheet. So if I double click here, I should find every data point in the original data that was customer 2 in quarter 3. And there they are. And that's really cool. So there's a lot of neat stuff that we did here. The value filters, just analyzing customers, making the data update automatically when we hit refresh, since we made the original data table. And basically, we'll have more on that table feature. But what the table feature does, you should use that when you have the idea that when you add new rows to the bottom of the spreadsheet or new columns, you would like formulas to update automatically and charts to update automatically. That's incredibly useful if you master it, and we will have some videos on that in the near future. Okay, we'll continue with our study of pivot tables with label filters, I call them text filters, in the next video.
Okay, so thanks for watching, and there's a free course, a free 21-day course from Dr. Winston, and all of these videos are coming from one of 3 books. So first, this one, which you can see here at the top of the screen, Microsoft's book, which has 355 reviews, and then it's, let's see, 4.6 stars. It's coming from this book as well, his marketing analytics book, which is down here, and you can sort of see 4.5, or his newest book, his analytics stories book, which is here. And with that one, you can see it's 4 point something, or maybe even 5. I don't think it's 5. Yeah, 4.8. And so yeah, anyways, in the description, there's a free 21-day course from Dr. Winston, or you can go to excelwithwayne.com/free, and it'll be there. But again, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, just please let us know. Thanks.